teacher, where he will become the manifestation of Tara herself. And from the side of the student, we are to do the bathing ritual, make prostrations, and then do a mandala offering. So we'll do the mandala offering at the end of our prayers, right after we do the prayer of refuge. We'll do the prayers in our normal order. So now if everyone who hasn't can make prostrations, I will be doing that now, and then getting situated, and we'll begin with the introductory prayers. Thank you. Okay, Kala. Thank you. So we'll get started. Just give me one moment. I think I have a pair of working glasses. So. The Sutra of the Heart of Transcendent Knowledge. Thus have I heard, once the Blessed One was dwelling in Rajagriha at Vulture Peak Mountain, together with a great gathering of the Sangha of monks and a great gathering of the Sangha of Bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One entered the Samadhi that expresses the Dharma called profound illumination, and at the same time, Noble Avalokiteshvara, Bodhisattva Mahasattva, while practicing the profound Prajnaparamita, saw in this way. He saw the five skandhas to be empty of nature. Then, through the power of the Buddha, Venerable Shariputra said to Noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, how should a son or daughter of noble family train who wishes to practice the profound Prajnaparamita? Addressed in this way, Noble Avalokiteshvara, Bodhisattva Mahasattva said to Venerable Shariputra, O Shariputra, a son or daughter of noble family who wishes to practice the profound Prajnaparamita should see in this way. Seeing the five skandhas to be empty of nature. Form is emptiness, emptiness also is form, emptiness is no other than form. Form is no other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, perception, formation, and consciousness are emptiness. Thus, Shariputra, all dharmas are emptiness. There are no characteristics. There is no birth and no cessation. There is no impurity and no purity. There is no decrease and no increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no perception, no formation, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no appearance, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, no dharmas. No I, dhatu, up to no mind, dhatu, no dhatu of dharmas, no mind consciousness, dhatu, no ignorance, no end of ignorance, up to no old age and death, no end of old age and death, no suffering, no origin of suffering, no cessation of suffering, no path, no wisdom, no attainment, and no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, since the Bodhisattvas have no attainment, they abide by means of Prajnaparamita. Since there is no obscuration of mind, there is no fear. They transcend falsity and attain complete nirvana. All the Buddhas of the three times, by means of Prajnaparamita, fully awaken to unsurpassable, true, complete enlightenment. Therefore, the great mantra of Prajnaparamita, the mantra of great insight, the unsurpassed mantra, the unequaled mantra, the mantra that calms all suffering, should be known as truth, since there is no deception. Prajnaparamita mantra is said in this way. Teata om gate gate, paragate, parasangate, bodhisoha. Thus, Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, should train in the profound Prajnaparamita. Then the Blessed One arose from that samadhi and praised Noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, saying, Good, good, O son of noble family, thus it is, O son of noble family, thus it is. One should practice the profound Prajnaparamita just as you have taught, and all the Tathagatas will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, Venerable Shariputra and Noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, that whole assembly in the world with its gods, humans, Asuras, and Gandharvas rejoiced and praised the words of the Blessed One. Ngala jobe ne jodamba ne nguje dojo hai do do yen roba bola mai bujin ne zo ngando zola jate lo. The fundamental ground is scented with incense and strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, the four continents, the sun, and the moon. I imagine this as a Buddha land and offer it. May all sentient beings enjoy this pure realm. Holy Lamas high, wrap the sky of your Dharma bodies, massive clouds of knowledge and love, and let them pour upon the earth of your disciples as we are ready, a shower of rain, the teachings deep and wide. I send forth this jewel mandala to you, precious Guru. Edam Guru Rana Mandala Gamniradayam. I did it backwards. Joji Janam La Janjo Bado Dani Jazuji Nagi Chinye Bezanji Jola Benji Zanye Jubaju Zanye Jadan Joye Janam La Janjo Bado Dani Jazuji Nagi Chunye Jipe Sonam Drola Penchi Sanye Jubasho Sanye Jadan Zoye Chonam La Janjo Bado Dani Jasuchi Nagi Chunye Jipe Sonam Drola Penchi Sanye Jubasho. That's good. So now we will repeat 3 times. Rinpoche just did it 3 times, but we'll do it in English. I pray the glorious Guru, who is the essence of all the Buddha of the 3 times, to grant me the profound initiation into White Tara. I pray the glorious Guru, who is the essence of all the Buddhas of the 3 times, to grant me the profound initiation into life of White Tara. I pray the glorious Guru, who is the essence of all the Buddhas of the 3 times, to grant me the profound initiation into the long life of White Tara. Bene de Shanchu Sembi Dumba.
What?
Gonchu Sunla Tibetanji.
What did you know?
So now we will repeat the Bodhisattva vow. I go for refuge to the 3 jewels. I acknowledge all. all misdeeds. I rejoice in all of the good that has been done. I will hold these bodhisattva vows until I become a Buddha. I go for refuge to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. I acknowledge all of my downfalls. I rejoice in all good that has been done. I will hold these bodhisattva vows until I become a Buddha. I go for refuge to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha and acknowledge all of my downfalls. I rejoice in all of the good and will hold these bodhisattva vows until I become a Buddha. Now we will move on to the initiation proper. The initiation has three different categories. The initiation has four different categories, and then the initial initiation has three. So the four categories are initiation through life, initiation through nectar of life, the initiation through pills of life, and then the increase of life. And the initial initiation has three categories: summoning the scattered, healing the degenerate, life forth, strength and merit, and vows, and absorbing life. We have these various categories that we'll go through, and we'll just go through Rinpoche, the Gom Kanga Lagua.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Rinpoche would like me to just go through each of the visualizations. I'll do them the best of my ability in a summarized fashion so that we can follow the text that Rinpoche is following. So the first category is called summoning the scattered. So we have various life force and so forth that has been scattered. So we imagine that because of our fierce, hold on one moment, because of our fierce love for the Guru, we visualize that Rinpoche is the actual manifestation of white Tara. We imagine that the place that we're abiding in is the pure land of white Tara, and that everything, all of our enjoyments and everything that we see around us is what white Tara would see. Rinpoche is the manifestation of white Tara herself, and we imagine that this picture here under the umbrella is the actual manifestation of the front generation of white Tara. And then above white Tara's front generation crown, we have Amitayas, who sits with a pot full of life-giving nectar, of that which cheats death, nectar. So now we imagine that from the Lama, who's the manifestation of Tara herself, there are light rays and streams of nectar that are flowing into the front generation and then to the flask and Amitaya. And we imagine that then they go to the triple world like iron hooks and grab off any of the scattered merit and life and so forth that has been stolen or robbed or carried off by kings of demons and evil spirits and so forth. And we imagine that it's summoned back and forms a flask filled with deathless life, skull balls and alms full of nectar. We imagine that they come back and dissolve into the heart and the parts of the body in the front generation of white Tara, and that from all of those parts of our body, measureless streams of nectar, red and white, enter through the hole in the tops of our head called the Brahma hole, fill the insides of our body and cleanse away all of our misdeeds, obscurations, diseases, things that would impede our life, and heal the scattering of our dissolution of lives, and grant us the magical attainment of deathless life. So next we imagine that we are healing the degenerates. So we have a very similar visualization, and we begin with healing the degeneration of life. So here, this degeneration of life allows us to restore our elements that are degenerated. Each of our elements has an important role in keeping us alive. And if any of them degenerate so they become out of balance, this can cause us to die quicker. So it's for this reason that we are now restoring our elements. And we imagine that the same visualization, that from the self generation, the Lama, who is the manifestation, to the front generation, we see light rays and nectar and measureless forms that go then shape into hooks and summon all of the elements from all the worldly realms. We imagine that the earth element is grabbed and it is in a gold or a yellow color. We imagine that the water element is grabbed and it's in a white color like milk. We imagine the fire element is grabbed and it's in a red color like a vermilion. We imagine that the element of the air is grabbed in the color of green like emerald, and we imagine that the space element is grabbed in the color of blue like melted indigo. And we imagine that these elements that are responsible, the earth for our stability, the water for our hearts being hydrated, the fire for our warmth, the air for us to breathe, and the element of space in order for the air to move through, is all coming back to us in a completely restored form in the color of yellow, white, red, green, and blue, and entering into the white Tara's front generation, into the wheel at her heart, and then streams of deathless nectar enter the tops of our heads. And we imagine that they are restoring all of our 5 elements, and these streams of nectar are entering back into us and have now made it so that we are balanced again in from our elements. Now, if we are strength or merit degenerate, this will also cause us to die prematurely. So we imagine in the same way that this light radiates and nectar radiates from the self-generation to the front generation, and we imagine that gathers all of these, like without any problem, these lights and nectars will gather the strength of Brahma and Indra and all the powerful gods and the sun and the moons and the stars and all the empowerments, all of these strengths and all of the merit that's ever been created, and understandings of yogis and understandings of magicians and the knowledge of all the wisest humans and the sovereignty of the universal monarch. And we imagine that all of those who possess the mantra of deathless life and all of their qualities and powers come to us right now. We imagine they dissolve into the wheel at the heart of the front generation, and then they enter our Brahma hole and then cleanse away all of our misdeeds, obscurations, diseases, and any degeneration in strength and merit that has occurred. Next, we imagine that our vows and pledges are restored. We imagine now that because of our fierce love for our guru, light radiates from the guru's heart and touches the front generation. And from her heart arouses from the syllable Tam, light radiates and invites the empowerment of the body, speech, and mind of all the gurus and the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in the 10 directions, especially those associated with the retinue of white Tara, Sintha Chakra, mother of the conquerors who dwells in the pure lands, and those in the lineage of Amitayas. We imagine that then all of this light from the power of our love that goes from the seed syllable Tam at the heart of the front generation gathers all of this power, all of this generation of vows and pledges, and makes them strong again. And these empowerments of our body, speech, and mind transform our negative gates into positive gates. And we imagine that it comes back, these lights come back in all the forms of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, the forms of their mantras, their seed syllables, their emblems, and so forth, and all the syllables of their mantras in the form of deathless life in the color of white, red, and blue. And we imagine that the white purifies our body, the red purifies our speech, the blue purifies our mind. And then we imagine that as it dissolves through our body, speech, and mind, that our negative body, speech, and mind are then transformed into the 3 diamonds, the body, speech, and mind of the 3 Vajras, the pure, the diamond body, diamond speech, and diamond mind, so pure. And we imagine that then now our body, speech, and mind is that of the conqueror and is of one taste. And then now we imagine that we absorb life. Here is where we actually absorb white Tara and then take on the deity. So we vividly visualize the self-generation of white Tara and light raising to the front generation and nectars, and then hold on one second. Okay, so now we imagine that the Lama has light from, who is the manifestation of white Tara, has a light that then emanates out and then creates a white Tara above our heads, surrounded by the conquerors and their sons, so the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And then we imagine that streams of nectar of deathless life fall into the hole of the tops of our head, our Brahma hole, and fill our entire body. And we imagine that various black and soot comes out of our pores and our sense organs. And you imagine that our bodies become pure and crystal, like polished crystal. We have all the qualities of merit and understanding. So now we are making ourselves the appropriate basis and the very final stage. We imagine that we are cleansed. And then we hear the Dahom Baho, and we imagine that all of the deities dissolve into the white Tara who is on our crown. So the merit field that's surrounding white Tara dissolves, and then a separate body separates and melts into from the top of our head into us. And then we've now imagined that our body, speech, and mind are of a single taste with Tara's body, speech, and mind. And we imagine that at this moment, we have been granted all the highest and ordinary attainments and the mantra of life without death. And at this point then in the ceremony, the Rinpoche would read the entire lineage of that goes from white Tara herself, and in this case, through Vagisvara Kirti to Mogavajra, the translator from Bari, to Lama Lengapa and Deepa Chempo, and so forth. And then eventually through all of the Kadampa masters and the Dalai Lamas and some of the great commentators on the great works of the Indian masters, and then eventually through His Holiness the Dalai Lama and other great masters like Trijang Rinpoche and Dzong Rinpoche, to Rinpoche, and then to us. So we're so fortunate to be able to be in this lineage now and to have been initiated into this very profound lineage. And if you read, there's some very interesting points you'll see connected to Atisha as well. There's a separate lineage that you can read about. It goes from Solimpa to Atisha, and eventually ends up at Lama Lengapa as well, because Atisha met with Tara personally, and she gave him some special instructions that he put together with some of the other instructions. And then you can find these in some of the other texts as well. So you'd have to study further, but there's 9 lineages of the White Tara lineage, 2 main lineages. One is the one through the translator of Bari, and thank you. The one is through the translator of Bari, and then the other one goes through the other one, okay. And the other one goes through Atisha and Solimpa. So I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted. But so it's so wonderful that we have this opportunity to be amongst those giants of spiritual realization and meditation, and that Rinpoche is, chosen to be in Middletown, Connecticut for all of these years amongst a very, very small group of students that have received for 20-something years these blessings and these high empowerments that now we're like, oh, we're doing White Tara, I think, is it the second Sunday again? And that's just incredible that we have that opportunity to become so familiar from a blessing perspective, even if we, don't have bodhicitta and really can't enter a mandala because we aren't bodhisattvas. We have these imprints that are so strong that, we have the opportunity, if we haven't already had these realizations, to get them so swiftly, because Tara's blessings are very swift. And when you read about all of the great masters, so many of them relied upon Tara, including the first Dalai Lama, because of the attainments they could so quickly achieve through White Tara practice. So I just want to say thank you, Rinpoche. The Chan Dronkat Sewang Tem Mambo Nansong, the Tuchena, the Sheda Pentoldu. Chan the Chuzun.
Ajalıcı.
So the next parts of the initiation are the initiation through the nectar of life and then the pills of life. So just imagine that you've taken the nectar as we just have, and imagine that you've taken the pills as we just have. And the nectar gives us the deathless life, and the pills ward off any diseases that we have. And then Rinpoche did a prayer that would allow us to increase life. Then the Tama, Jendungare, the Dire. So now we just basically at the end would repeat that whatever is taught by Tara, that I will do. Whatever is taught by Tara, that I will do. Whatever is taught by Tara, that I will do. It's making a commitment to practice at the end. And that's the end of the blessing. So, do you have a drink?
Hurry.
I'm so sorry. I made them very dry, and now I can't speak. Anything like water? Coffee. Okay. Hold one moment. Is there something? Okay.
That's a blood mother.
Yes. Florida. Scotch is in Florida.
Yeah.
He's so impressed that, that something so far away as Florida could be captured on the video and live and seen. So I guess, we're all too close for it to be Rinpoche loves seltzer. Big fan.
Bubbles.
The bubs.
Yeah.
He's a big fan of the bubs.
Yep.
Okay. So does anybody have any questions or would like to just say hello or anything? I'll wait for the chatty till after we get the video up.
Thank you for the continued support.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and thank you everyone for the continued financial support. We've been very fortunate to have a lot of the expenses taken care of, such as the stair lift. I think good till the end of summer now, just because of everybody chipping in, not just one person, everybody chipping in. And it's been really, really fortunate. So I just want to say thank you to all of you. It gathers merit, allows Rinpoche to continue to teach because of that merit. We as students gather in relationship to him. So he said, "There's a dog."
Where's the dog? Oh, the corgi again. I love that dog.
Jeff, may I ask a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Khensur Rinpoche, would you please explain Lama Lobsang Tubuan Dorje Chang and what it means?
Rinpoche, the Lama Lozan Tuwan Dorje Chang, the Dondagare. So it's Rinpoche's, it would be Lama Tsongkhapa's tantric name, the tantra name, Rinpoche, Yomaribe, Dorje Chang. So it's saying basically Lama Tsongkhapa, the manifestation of Vajradhara. You are who is Vajradhara. He said if you do the Ganden Lajima every single day, then you have within that the Mitsema mantra of Lama Tsongkhapa. And if you can do that, it's very good. Lozan Drape Sewan Dorje Chang. Said if you do this every single, the Yanjasona say this. Oh, I see. So this life, good things will occur, and then in all of those lives to come, good things will occur.
Thank you very much, Rinpoche.
Yeah.
Ted Dankiri.
Toshibele, how are you? Kuso Debu Rinpoche?
Yeah, they were
Tuchinos Rinpoche, Jeff, thank you so much. Lori, thank you so much. Rinpoche, I had a question. If I'm sitting, Jeff, if I'm sitting as a self-generation of white Tara, and I really want to visualize pulling back energy of the elements of the, the red, white, blue, yellow, and green, how is it? Does it come from my heart as hooks, and then I'm pulling it back, and then it goes into Amitaius's flask, and then goes down?
It says it goes. It says it goes in the text. It says it goes from would be you, because you're the front generation. It says it goes to the triple world, then it creates the hooks, gathers those back, and then they go to the circle of the front generation, the 8-spoke wheel, with the tum. Yeah, that is such an intense. I could never even in this life imagine being able to do that with all the consonants going all the directions. But it goes there, and then it goes from that to us into our Brahma hole. So that's how the text reads. I can double check it for you for sure, though.
Okay.
You're specifically speaking in the.
I'm saying like a self-generation. If I generate as Tara, how I do it.
Dache gon, droma, dronka, dache gona. Dene de kon de sa chu me lon, de nanka len gona. Dene tambo, kon gon, then the u dan dutsi, the nanka dro. Dene de sa chu me lon, nanka kanga, de jadan drapo len. Dene de dunje, gu. Dene dunje de korlo, de ni korlo drodu. Dene de ngatsu u go u drodu. The abudwe. Yeah, so that's it. Rinpoche said, so it goes from the self-generation to the triple world, to the space, basically, gathering the elements, and then bringing those elements back in those colors to the front generation, at the heart, at the front generation, and then I'll read it specifically. Hold on.
So Jeff, the front generation is the image of the deity?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
okay.
So you visualize that they dissolve into the body and the wheel of the front generation, and then from it, streams of nectar of deathless life enters through the top of our heads. So it goes into the body of the front generation, and then the wheel at the heart, and then from it says and from her in turn. So it doesn't say specifically from where. Just sounds like from the front generation's entire essence, this deathless life nectar comes into the hole of the top of our head.
So no Amitaius flask.
It doesn't. Not in this. I mean, maybe if there's another one that's more in depth, but the one that we have doesn't have that visualization of the Amitaius. Hold on. On the back end, but on the front end, if you're the front generation, Rinpoche, the dache dan dunje gona ngat nicha tsepa me yurbe. Then ngatsu dache gona ngatsu droma yin, then ngatsu go ganga sepa me yurbe.
Yeah. Drama gon some of it.
Yene ngatsu droma dache gona ngatsu droma gon yone gona the ngatsu go toka.
Drama will some me.
Okay, so when we're doing the visualization of the front generation, it's assumed because Tara has, this is something new I learned today. Thank you for your question. Tara has always Amitaius on her crown. So we're, so I wonder why. So in the initiation, let me just explain how the initiation proper goes. We do that section. So when we do that section, it goes from the Lama, who's the self-generation, and then up then to the front generation, and then to the flask of Amitaius. So what I'm wondering is that nowhere does it talk about hold on, let me see if when we go back to the very initial one, just give me a moment, I'm sorry, this is a great question. We do this initiation a lot. So I just want to see what it says in the very first part. Yes, that's it. So it never talks about Amitai being on in the initiation. It never talks about Amitai being on the crown of the Lama in the visualization. Maybe it's assumed that Amitai, I'm sorry, it never speaks that Amitai is on the crown of the self-generation in it, but maybe it's assumed, but it's not part of the actual visualization of light rays. So the light rays, it doesn't say go to the self-generation's crown. It says they go from the self-generation, who is the Lama, to the front generation, then from the front generation to Amitai's bowl, then to space, gathering the elements, then back to the front generation's heart and body, and then from that comes this deathless nectar that goes into our crowns. So Amitai's is only in the visualization here on the front end in relation to the front generation. So one time it goes from the Lama, who's the manifestation of Tara, who I guess you would infer has Amitai's on his or her crown. And then from the Lama, these nectars and rays go to the front generation. So then I would say, you know, absorb into the front generation of Tara. Then these light nectars go from the front generation of Tara up to Amitai, specifically to the bowl. And then they go from that bowl, light rays and nectars go to space and the triple worlds, all the worlds, and gather up these elements and bring them back. And as they come back, they go to the front generation, according to the text, and then to us.
So the front is always the teacher, or he's this, right?
It depending, yeah. It's not specific to that in the text. The self-generation and the initiation is the teacher, but when you visualize it in the front, most texts say that you imagine your Lama, who is the essence of white Tara. But you would have to look for specific commentary. It's not in this initiation.
Okay. I have the commentary. Thank you. I'm sorry for the confusion, because I was thinking in practice, when you're doing practice and recitation, how you can actually really do that and pull that energy back in. What's the exact proper way?
Something interesting also that I read, and I can only have to this part I touched on that I wasn't ever thinking about, is that when we're doing Tara practice, and say we're trying to do it in relation to sentient beings, we have to dissolve them into purity before we do it, because Tara's in Pure Land. And we're meditating on everything as pure. We can't imagine sentient beings who are suffering. So we dissolve them into our heart. It's a process that I didn't realize. I was always thinking Tong Land, but doing it as Tara. But you're actually not thinking of the land in the same way if you're seeing if you're breaking it up like that. So it's just interesting. I have to look more into it, and I encourage you to, because I had never really thought about that when you're doing meditation and you're trying to do mantra recitation and the light rays and so forth. If you're imagining this other world simultaneously, it's breaking up your continuity of purity, of abandonment of ordinary appearances. So it's interesting. I just read this like last night, but it was something interesting that I saw.
Thank you, Jeff. I'll read more on it. I don't want to take up too much of the time. Thank you so much. Thank you, Rinpoche.
No.
Melinda has a question.
Sure.
Hello, this is Lobsang Tenzin.
Oh, good. You give me a break. I'm gonna go. Can I leave now?
I can ask. That's the Rinpoche. I could ask in Tibetan and then.
I love it. It's being translated and everything.
Okay, Rinpoche. Namgyal nga so the new choba dong chigewa. The nangbe rikshung gyabjong yomare. Nangbe rikshung mezang. Any fly number. Jodang da fly sangma droga droma Chenrezig tama tuku gi number ro tuku gi number ta drang mangai ba ro ta de ba yo chezang ta boba yana number rikshung chung ne ta lai ku dang thanga mambo gel de gi ro gomshi jebushi gomshi things abo yore lo la bakcha things abo yore ta nucho be mi bakcha things abo me chang high number this the high number gyora dosi barebe chi nucho gi mi mixo karne chi high number this gyora dosi barebe.
Yeah, I'm not sure he.
Droga gi numbers and a droga gi chi ta droga gi re dang zubo kuzu gi nangwa di kuzu gi number di dezo chi nombe gyabjong nombe rikshung gi gyabjong di mezang so so lo la shar du gang la tis ken sabo drabo chora dua gomshi mezang chezang number di tis lo la bab debo lo la shar debo gi number this number cyber drabo chik so tu gi be.
So what is it? Can you just say in English what you?
So I'm trying to ask. I think Rinpoche understands if it's because of not having a very strong or deep background in Buddhist culture and the imagery of these different deities, but in general, since the deities are all manifestations or aspects of the Nirmanakaya, the manifestation bodies, there's really limitless varieties of those. So is it possible for the actual visualized aspects that we meditate on of these different manifestation bodies to somehow change to be more natural to visualize or think about for people from different culture, like Western cultures or so forth?
And then he said digere. He said it's fine. So
No,
I think,
did he?
so
I didn't hear.
the shaitan dan shache tupo gu dan Padan Lama gu dan Droma gu dan Chenrezig gu then ngatsu tona they lo mambo ngama konsu de jimu zuken de zuso then ngatsu gonjana the me dan drapo yomare yene the Droma dan Chenrezig kanga trupa then ngama de konsu trupa then trupa ngatsu drapo tungtu drapo do then ngatsu de gon the ngatsu dan drapo yene ngatsu de sampa de droma nyone yen gonjana de digre de shaitan droma data gonjaku. Then the susu dopa then nga the droma dache gon then nga droma the shaitan the mik dun dan kanga the gonja go then lama dan drapo gonja digre be. Okay, so what I was asked Rinpoche is basically is that we have all these images and paintings that have been made, and they're emanations of they're the emanation body, but they seem very foreign to us. They seem sometimes strange. Is it okay to just meditate on them as more like normal, like in the essence of our Lama or the way that our Lama would look? And he said each individual has to see what suits him or her. So that's what he said. So each individual has to see what suits him or her, and it would be fine to. I asked if it'd be okay to meditate on the deity in the form like our Lama, as if in that kind of form.
Can I ask one follow-up?
Yeah, please do. Yeah.
So I'll just ask in English first, and then I'll try to say it.
Yeah.
So I'll just want to ask then. So is it worth the effort to spend a large amount of time and effort to really study, the specific appearances of a deity when you're doing a meditation and getting really clear about how the implements are, the clothing, the expression, all of that? of those things which are explicit in the text. So Rinpoche do it, because the do it tada lap tu gi na mena. Tani na so shung nang la da sanga ki shung nang lo la joba nang lo la da hla gom gap tong ani da doji jigje na re ani sangdu so nang ani tash 그래 ship 사보지 뒤여라 도시 갑동디 아니 착낭라 착낭라 딘데 차 예바 차 용바 아니 고 아니 서머 쉐리 서머기 넘버 띵 사보 직 도시 따따 갑여라 대저 서머 엔진 민지 장고 그래베 디 장나 펜토 첨부데
패도 집에
So Rinpoche said it's a great benefit to actually study those details. Then, but it's a hot topic right now in my mind, actually. Just like how much of it is symbolism and how much of it does, I'm just trying to find that balance between being clinging to like almost all of the implements and clinging to the colors and the cloths and all of the different iconography. Almost clinging to it in a way I found when I was younger, for sure. Buying up everything in India the first time I went, making a special room. And I wonder how much of that was no different than posters on my walls of Jimi Hendrix, like how different it was really. So I'm in that same place. I love this question you're asking because I'm finding like, should I devote time to that or should I focus on Madhyamaka and just try to really like sort that out, So Rinpoche, kontriwa de ngatsu dutsu shera mambo yo mare, de jutsu de gatsi yuna mena hako go mare, and kontriwa de ngatsu de jiji da duko gon da de ha mambo de lapa eba nya nyomba dan jobo dorje de lapa kashe mik yure then the kadok mambo yure and then sansan this shit of mambo sanlo dango the lobjun she pensho the ngatsu dan drapo gon ma the Chenrezig nyone and la senchen tanche pembo gari yakshu san kanga lodzin then kanga gonja the kanga the ewa sansan dunja the dukor one the jinkor nala la dunju Dunja, there's 700 and something deities in the mandala, for instance, of Kala Chakra,
Right.
So the Jinkor Nala, La, Dunju, Moa, Yure, the Kanga, the Lodzingu, then a Gonja, the Kashe, Dan Doni Dopi Shira Nyandu, Lobjum, the Gonja na Penshu.
군인들이 싫어도 상주 생산하는 모종의 패도 집에
So the most beneficial thing at the basis, he said, is to meditate on the mind that aspires to enlightenment and emptiness. So I asked all the weavers, I tried to get, do we need all the hand implements and colors and rights and left and bells and dorjes and eyes? And I said, what's more beneficial, to just do that, to meditate and memorize all of those things, or just meditate on an ordinary aspect with divine pride, if you will, in the action tantra, that I am the deity and I'm doing this for the benefit of all sentient beings. And Rinpoche said then the best thing is that the most beneficial is bodhicitta and emptiness.
이제 자갈 배우면
연결선 고기면도 Rinpoche 건다.
자갈 누구이 배
Gagala that Kasang Keninga visa raso. The visa rane then he cub gagging sarne Gagala doing Rinpoche.
야 버려
Oh, you got it?
Yes, I got a visa and the first shot, so I have to wait. I'll wait for the second shot before I
Oh,
go.
so awesome. I'm so excited for you.
Yeah, thank you. Tuchana Rinpoche.
야
And that isn't to say, like, I want to make sure that that's not Rinpoche saying that let's abandon it all and just, he's just saying, to this group right here, what's most beneficial. You know, I just want to make sure that I didn't mistranslate that at all. It's just what he answered in this context. So thank you.
Dhamma tabal dhamma gung, dhamma zunga dhanga ina, tsarnamba yungare, chiwa tsara mambali yabu yungare.
Rinpoche, nga tsu the droma gona, tanda nga droma yin gonja na, pembudu tanda nga droma yin gonja, then nik the kanga, then garpo, then nga pumo lo judru, yimba, then the kanga, sanlo dan, the pensho, then the nga dan drapo yine jeme yin pensho. The kanga, the zin tona yakshu.
Yabure,
The kanga lo zin tona yakshu.
yabure.
Pen more.
Yabure. Dhamma kullu zina chiyo malu, tezma.
And he said, so I said, would it be better just to meditate on myself in the case of Tara, as just an ordinary person who's Tara, or is it important that I'm white and in the aspect of a young, you know, just all of the aspects with the eyes and so forth. He said, there's not a lot to memorize about Tara, so it may be beneficial to be able to, if you can do that. So, and by doing the White Tara practice, it's of great benefit, and there's will allow you to have a long life. The Peo Chembudan will allow, I think, and will allow you to have great benefit and have a long life. Any more questions? Thank you, Lobsang. I really, really love that question because I'm struggling with that.
What's up, man?
Terry?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah. Hi, Terry.
Hi. Hi. I have a question about mantra recitation. I say the Tara long life mantra for those that I care about and want to live a long life. I mean, everyone, but, and then when someone's died, I recite the Om Mani Padme for 49 days. But I wonder, when someone has taken their own life, what's the best mantra?
Okay. Rinpoche, the Terry, this the kon nima dakpar, the droma kandun cheudu, then the me shena, me drona, kon 49 nima jipchu, the jego, the omani pemi hon dangudu, then me rang sena, kandun gare pensho.
Dhamma yajure, this is Dhamma.
White Tara.
White
Tara
Tara.
would be the best.
Yeah,
Okay. Thank you, Rinpoche, very much.
yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Coleman, what's up?
How you guys doing? Just a quick question. Can there just be someone that's born and then be gifted with like the ability to realize emptiness in that life without achieving the path of seeing? Can they just spontaneously
They would already be Aryas.
Okay,
You don't
so
go
that's
back.
the qualification. Oh,
You
okay.
don't forget
Yeah,
it.
that's
It's
right.
not
That's what I was.
something
That's
you forget.
exactly what I was talking about.
Yeah, once you the Tonla Lena, Papa Yen, Logamade, Japan, Chagamade, Papa Mayimba the Chagamade.
Mhm.
Yeah, once you're an Arya, you're an Arya. The path of seeing, you become a superior being and you're no longer an ordinary being.
Touché. That's it. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you. The Tonla Malena Papa Mayen, Tonla Lena Papa Yen,
Yes,
Susu Jua Yanje Yongmare, Papa the Dakpar. Yeah, you want to be an ordinary being again if you become a superior being at the path of seeing. It's not, if you're an Arya, it's not like you are a baby and you forgot you were an Arya and then remember it. It's just not the kind of, an Arya has abandoned the coarse afflictions. Has abandoned the lower realm rebirth, has so much more control and realization at all times that wouldn't just go away or cloud. They're
He
working on
means-
the bodhisattva levels at that point. They're first round bodhisattvas at that point when they come out of the path of release. And at that point, they're on the first ground, and they begin working on the various afflictions that even a Henianist would work on. And then when they get up to the higher levels of the 7th or 8th bodhisattva ground, then they've abandoned that which is similar to what a Henianist would abandon, and then they begin to get rid of those obstructions to omniscience and the great, medium, great, small, etc., medium, great, medium, small, and then the small, great, small, medium, and smallest of small obstructions to omniscience, and then they become a Buddha. So it's a really specific graduated stages that occur in terms of realization, and it's not choppy and uncertain. Anyone else? Okay, so we'll do the concluding prayers, and then we'll turn the recording off, and yeah, we'll go from there. So we'll do the concluding mandala offering and dedication prayers. And the fundamental ground is scented with incense and strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, the 4 continents, the sun, and the moon. I imagine this as a Buddha land and offer it. May all sentient beings enjoy this pure realm. I dedicate whatever virtues I've collected for the benefit of the teachings of all sentient beings, for the essential teachings of Venerable Lobsang Drapa to shine forever. I send forth this jeweled mandala to you, precious Guru. I dedicate all this virtue to emulate the knowledge of the hero Manjushri and likewise Samantabhadra as well. With whatever dedication is praised as supreme by all the conquerors who traverse the 3 times, I also dedicate all my roots of virtue for the sake of auspicious deeds. In that pure land surrounded by snowy mountains, you are the source of all benefit and happiness. All-powerful Avalokiteshvara Tenzin Gyatso may stay until samsara's end. I pray for the long life of the precious Khensur Rinpoche, upholder of scriptural and realizational doctrines, spiritual friend who trained extensively in the 5 great philosophical texts with exceptional wisdom and perseverance. Okay, so I just want to say thank